Hello, and thank you everyone for joining our webinar. Today we will be focusing on the topic of using a visual Kanban with Microsoft Project Online and Office 365. Next. At Progility, we're known in the Microsoft and PPM community as experts in all things project and portfolio management. PMOs and CIOs typically come to us when they can't easily explain what's going on across all of their projects. They don't know what resources are working on what work, and they have a hard time getting consistent reports and metrics to make project-based decisions. We have successfully worked with large enterprises across multiple industries and have deployed PPM for IT, new product development, R&D, and engineering organizations. Next. We offer services and solutions in three core areas: deployment and consulting services, which we provide professional services for successfully planning and implementing Microsoft Project Portfolio Management, including Microsoft Project Online, integrating PPM with line of business applications, delivering strategic execution management solutions to support top-level management planning. We also have a growing business intelligence practice that leverages best-in-class solutions such as Microsoft Power BI. Progility offers a set of pre-built software solutions and accelerators based upon 15 years of experience in the PPM, SEM, and BI spaces, including a set of Hammerhead products that provide improved access to your cloud PPM data, assist with migrating from on-premise to the cloud, accelerate visual reports and dashboards using Power BI, and aligning data between your PPM system and Azure DevOps to improve visibility, insight, and control over your work, people, and projects. Finally, Progility provides post-implementation support services, including expert care, which is designed to assist your PMO with gaining on-demand expertise on the solutions supported. We also offer training for your end users and administrators and can assist with staffing your PPM admin role in your program office. Next. All videos from this and previous series are available on our best practiced video channel on Vimeo, which is listed on this page. Topics range from managing your digital transformation program using PPM technologies to integrating PPM with agile and line of business applications such as ServiceNow. So feel free to access this library at any time and share it with your colleagues. Next. We do have an upcoming webinar on Thursday, October 1st that's focused on sharing methods for supporting new product development projects with Microsoft PPM solutions. This is a great opportunity for anyone in product-centric organizations to learn methods to leverage these tools and related processes to manage portfolios of product-based initiatives. The registration link is on this page. Additionally, our winter webinar series will be kicking off in November with a slate of great, highly relevant topics. So there's more information on that coming soon. Next. With that, I'm going to hand it off to Rob Hirschman, partner at Progility, who is going to go through our content. Rob, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Sarah, and welcome again, everybody, to our webinar today. Today, we're going to be really focused on Kanban. We'll talk a little bit about the concept of Kanban, what its roots are, and where it comes from. Some typical use cases as it relates to project management and managing projects. We'll walk you through a typical case study of a project. Then we're going to walk through different Microsoft-based solutions designed to support Kanban and project management together. We'll demonstrate these in a hands-on demonstration, showing you different examples. Also give you some deployment good practices, and what is the right tool for the job really is the question here we're going to help you answer. And sometimes it may be multiple tools. And finally, give you some resources if you're looking for deployment help or support. So hopefully this meets some of your requirements today. A little bit about Kanban before we get into the actual technology. I wanted to give you a little bit of a history. So for those who aren't familiar with Kanban, in the late 1940s, Toyota, out of Japan, found a better engineering process from a really strange source, actually at the supermarket. They had their engineers go to the supermarket, and when they were there, they were noticing that store clerks were restocking a lot of their grocery items, not based on the store inventory, but they were doing it based off of inventory, not what was in the vendor's supply. So it was only when they were nearly sold out of an item did some of the clerks raise their hand and go, hey, we need more items. And this visual way to look at what we're short on and what do we need, it became really what became just in time. That really triggered the minds and the thoughts for these Toyota engineers and drove something called a Kanban system that would allow them to match their inventory with demand. to achieve better quality and throughput. So really doing just-in-time and visuals was really what it was all about. That was really rooted in a very simple concept that communication can be improved through better collaboration and sharing things in a visual way. So if we look at Kanban, the concept of Kanban is actually is a Japanese word, and it means visual signal or card. And this is what the Toyota line workers were used. Actually, if we go and looked at the screen right now, they use an actual card. They started using this in the late 40s and early 50s to signal different steps in their manufacturing process. And the system was highly visual in nature. It allowed different teams to communicate more easily with what they needed and what needed to be done and when it needed to be done, all in one place in one visual card. It also helped them do standardization around different cues and refine their processes, which helped them on a couple of sides. It helped first reduce waste, but also maximize value and use everybody's time more efficiently and more effectively. So that's really the roots of Kanban. What really happened is a community started coming together on this in the early 2000s through some of the writings of Deming, Goldratt, and Reinertsen in 2005 to 2008. They were really looking on focusing on ways to improve processes with more visual techniques. And this is really the roots of where modern Kanban is and where it's come from. And there are really four core tenets to modern Kanban and what it's about. The first tenet is all about visualizing the work. So what you can do with Kanban is to create a visual model of your work and your workflow. By doing this, it allows you to observe the flow of work more through a visual system. It makes the work visual. It allows you to identify blockers and bottlenecks and cues and really instantly communicate the status and collaborate with team members. So really the first tenet of Kanban is visualization. The second tenet is really limiting work in progress, and this really means focus, limiting how much unfinished work is in progress. You can reduce the time it takes for an item to travel through the system. If you think about it, you can also start to avoid problems caused by switching on different tasks, getting people to multitask, and reduce the need to reprioritization, to reprioritize different work items. So it's really allowing people to focus on exactly what they're doing at the time, which is a pretty simple concept. The third element is really the focus on the overall process flow. And by using what they call work in progress or process, this limits and develops a team-driven approach and team-driven policies so everybody is working together, so your work is optimized, you have a system in place to improve the smooth flow of work, and you're able also to collect metrics and analyze the flow. And when we show you some of the reports that are available, you'll start to see it's all about flow and who's working on what and who has more work than other folks on your team. And it also lets you get leading indicators, KPIs, to identify future problems and also analyze the flow of work. So the third part is really that focus on flow. And the fourth part, which really focuses really kind of on taking this data, it's really about continuous improvement. And this is where Deming comes in and Reinertsen come in. You can use a Kanban system in place when it becomes really the cornerstone or the building block for a culture of continuous improvement. Teams can then measure effectiveness and track their flow and their quality, the throughput of work process and progress, the lead times, and more. So what happens is you can actually experiment with new parts of the process, change the process around, analyze the results, and change the system to improve everybody's effectiveness. So this is really what Kanban's about. It's not all about just stickies on a wall. It's not about visualizing, limiting work in progress, focusing that work, and doing continuous improvement around it. Just to give you an example, and we're going to walk through this as we go through our software demonstration in a couple of minutes, the example we're going to use is we're going to use a marketing group. And the marketing group in your organization may be looking to update some content on some brochures or some content on the public website. So the project that's coming from this is to design and update digital product content and a series of brochures on a website. So what that all begins with in the Kanban world is identifying a couple of different things, sitting with a team and saying, okay, where are we now? And what that informs is the process step is, what are we designing? The second step in the process is, where did we come from? So what is the background on this? What is the previous website and what is the content on that website? And flowing from that, that's how we're going to start to build our plan forward. The third team question that's going to be asked is, what are we going to do next? And this is going to be the plan forward. This is going to be actually what we're going to be building as we go through updating the content and redesigning that. The goal with this, in this specific example that we'll show you, is to identify the actual process and the steps related we're going to follow, visualize that process, get buy-in on that process, and focus on a very shared approach to the project based off of that process and the team involved. So this is how we can start leveraging those concepts of Kanban I mentioned a couple of minutes ago in a project management world. So, the first thing we want to do in this example is really visualize the process and all the steps. So typically what's happening is we're using visual stickies of different colors that represent different kinds of work. We're then going to identify the work for each team member. So we're going to move it around that Kanban board and assign it to different resources. We're going to use a whiteboard, a visual board. It can be a real board or it can be a digital board or an online board, which we're going to show you today to do this and share this information so we always know exactly who's working on what and where it is in the process. It's also going to help us identify blockers where we're going to say, hey, we have a problem here. How are we going to get around that? The team comes up with ideas and the team does a workaround for that. So it's very team oriented. And we're also going to use the concept of buckets of work. And you're going to see this in the software in a couple of different places. We're going to bucketize work in different ways. And just remembering, we don't necessarily want the detailed how many specific hours are going into this. We want to know high level, what are the tasks to be performed. So this is about visualizing the steps in the process. Remembering that when we set up that Kanban board, it's all about the team. It's very team focused. We're going to start to status action items as they're happening, as the work is in progress. Remember, that was one of the tenets of core Kanban, identifying and analyzing work in progress. We also want to ensure, importantly, we have really good communication among people on the team, that everybody's communicating and collaborating together. We identify, as we're doing the work in progress, where do things get stuck? And then what we're going to do is the concept of daily stand-ups. A lot of people think this came out of Agile or Scrum. The roots of it were in Kanban in Japan in Toyota. And we're going to also do weekly retrospectives, which are really important to review the work that's been done. What are we doing what is our plan forward, and what is our design going forward as well? So really the goal here is to empower team members to own the overall process, to own the output, which is very project focused when you think about it at the end of the day. Whether you're building a car, you're building a piece of software, you're updating marketing materials, you want to have a positive output or a good product that you're delivering of quality. So once those team members take a stake in that and own it, not the management team, then you get a better quality product essentially. So, how does technology play into this? In the Microsoft world, we have several different technologies that are typically going to be leveraged to do not only project management, but Kanban and statusing of that as in a team environment. The first of those is Planner at the base, and Planner is a visual task tracking system. Think of this as really a graduate of the Outlook tasks class, where someone gets to a point where they say, hey, I want to do something a little more visual, a little more collaborative. I want it to be more Kanban in nature. I want to put those things on boards. I want to share them with team members and be notified of them. That's really where Planner comes into play. It's really designed for that ad hoc or small collaborative projects. The second tool for the job is a new product that was launched last fall by Microsoft, and not a lot of folks are familiar with this yet. It's called Project for the Web, and it is a pure web-based application that's designed for the occasional part-time or business project manager that maybe doesn't have a PMP, doesn't focus 100% of their time on formal projects and methodologies, but still has to manage projects as a part of their day-to-day life. Project for the Web is great for individual projects to build out schedules, but also to do task tracking, to look at resources working on tasks, and also do those task boards or those Kanban boards to visualize the work in progress, collaborate as a team, determine what the blockers are, and communicate that out. All of the data from this can also be reported on. So for organizations that do projects but don't do formal PMI-based projects and programs, Project for the Web is a great visual solution. We'll show you that. And finally, at the top of it all is Project Online, which is Microsoft's full-featured enterprise project portfolio management solution that is designed for semi-structured and structured PPM, where you have enterprise PMOs, enterprise governance, consistent intake, you have any kind of demand management, you're doing time tracking and reporting, but we can still use Project Online and integrate Kanban in as a methodology for keeping tasks up to date and share things in a visual way, which is what we're going to show you. And on top of this all is Microsoft Teams. We found that about 80% of the large enterprises we work with are adopting or have adopted Microsoft Teams because of what's going on in the last couple months. We can use Teams as a nice wrapper over all of these technologies to report on it and status. So we're going to show you that as well. So Teams can be a really good enabler into all of your data. So with that, I'm going to hop over into our demonstration now, and I'm going to start my day here as a team member that is going in. My screen here, I'm going to go to Office 365. I've logged in as a team member, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in Microsoft Planner. Now when I click on Planner, Planner is again a visual task tracking application that's designed to help me as a team member, in this case I'm playing the role of Todd Henry, see all the different activities and tasks I'm working on across activities that are in Planner today. So we may have kind of lightly structured efforts or projects, we may have this public website update. And if I go to this, you'll see it is Kanban in nature. It's actually designed to be visual right from the beginning. The first thing you'll notice about it is we have buckets. So we have buckets based off of the different phases or stages: initiation, planning, execution, closeout. And then we've got the different actions or high-level activities or tasks we have to deliver on. For instance, updating content. If I click on that, I can see I'm responsible, Todd Henry. It's been labeled green, so we're using that visual Kanban board concept of different colors based off different stages or phases. We can say what bucket is a part of. We can start to status it, not started, in progress, and done. We can start to assign a priority to this. We can also have a start and a finish date, and we can add notes to this as well. We can even create a visual checklist. So if we want to get down to a lower level, in order to update the content, I need to draft content with Bill, and then get updates to content with Sarah. So I can create this checklist. At the end of the day, I really want to deliver on updating content and when that's going to happen. We can add documents and attachments, add comments here, and once we close that, and then we can see here we have different tabs here, we can copy this or move it as well. So that is how we're going to start to organize things. If we had a new task that we wanted to add for the team, we can say we want to draw up specs for new brochure. We can set a due date on that. And draw up specs for new brochure. We go click on it once. We're going to say when is it going to start and finish. We can say it's in progress. We're saying we're starting today and we're going to finish next Friday. And then we can add checklist items to that as well. So that is how we are going to use Planner to start to capture and collaborate information. And then what we can do for that task, we can drag and drop it over and say this is part of planning. And then we can add labels to this. We can pick a label and say everything in planning is pink, everything in execution is red, everything in closing is yellow, or we can say anything in red has blockers associated with it. And it allows us to visually share this. We can say any team members that are working on this. We can group this by bucket. We can group it by progress. What's not started, what's in progress, and what's done, following a Kanban methodology. Or we can group it by due date or specific labels. And then as things move forward in the process, we're moving them forward. We can say by progress. So we just started maybe this final release to the site. We're preparing for publishing. And then we can say we just completed updating the content. So it's a very visual way to capture information and share it with our team members. But one of the challenges with Planner is it doesn't go much beyond this. It allows us to look at different charts on a specific effort and see what the status of our activities are. And then it has a high-level schedule, so we can see on a timeline or a calendar exactly what activities we have to work on this week and what tasks our team is working on. So if you're starting to get into kind of first-level planning and doing very light projects or collaborative efforts, or on the business side, Planner is a really good starting tool to begin that work, and it follows a core Kanban approach or methodology. Very quick and easy. One of the challenges with this is we don't have a way to really analyze across all of our plans. So once we start looking at doing cross-plan management and collaboration, that's when we're going to look at one of the project tools. So I'm going to hop over here and now play the role of a project manager. And now I want to start using Project for the Web. And that is that next level tool up for the occasional or part-time project manager. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I've created a project and Project for the Web. Now we're going to be updating for November. This is just our work for November, just the website update, and this is our project. And you can see we have 5 or 6 activities. It's not a really big project. It's going to last about a month. And you can see we can very quickly go in here and add tasks. So we may want to get approval to bring in a new vendor. So we're building this as we would any task in a project. We can take that and we can move it up and down. We can drag and drop that task up. We can a little hand here. We could say this task comes up here, comes before the final updates or working with the vendor. Or we can make it a subtask of that. And we can indent that. And then we can say who is actually responsible for this activity. How long is it going to take? It's probably going to take me 3 days to do that. And what we can say is this task comes after task 2. So we're creating a logical flow here. So now we've added a task to it very quickly and easily. We added a person to it. We can then add it to a bucket. Remember, the concept of Kanban is bucketizing our activities. So this task would fit into maybe the ready for review, technical output, or just our core work. And then we can go and status it and say, well, good news is we just got started on this, and I think we're about 25% done. Very quick and easy way to start organizing things in more of a visual project versus a standard, just traditional board. But the nice thing about Project for the Web is you'll see there are 3 tabs here: Grid, Board, and this is going to help me visualize all my activities on a Kanban board, and then I can take them, get approval to bring in a new, I have to put that through a management review, and then there's this other task for design, I have to put that in technical activities, so I can move things around in a visual way, Kanban, and then I can actually see them on a timeline and share that with management as well. So here's the list of actions or activities. Here's the visualization of that, the ability to add those and move them forward, and this is a technical activity, and then the timeline. And this is how Project for the Web works. Think of it as I'm graduating now from Planner, but I'm not ready for a full-fledged project and portfolio management system. I can then add group members to this and share this with different individuals, and these projects are all automatically saved and they're all fully web-based. You don't need a copy of Microsoft Project on your desktop to do this. It's all through the web browser. Now, after we get through that for Project for the Web, we want to start thinking about using Project Online. And this is where we have more complex projects with project-related interdependencies, and we have to start concerning ourselves with resource management. In Project for the Web, which I just showed you, we can go and assign a resource to an activity or a task, and then we can roll that up and see what resources are working on what tasks to get some metrics out, which is really nice. Project Online takes that to a whole nother level. Because it has an enterprise resource pool, we can now go in and build enterprise projects, assign resources, and look across all of our projects to do cross-project or program resource analysis. So what we're going to do first is look at one of our projects, again a marketing project, for our Fall 2020 public website update, which is more complex than the Project for the Web project. In this case, this project is going to go from September through November. You can see we've got a series of activities we've built out in Microsoft Project, reviewing the content, updating the content, working to publish this out, and we can assign one or multiple resources to these activities. We can put them on a visual timeline, and we can build this here in the web browser, or we can build it over in Microsoft Project on the desktop. So we have lots of different options here. But one of the nice things is, as we're building out durations and work and effort, it has kind of all the beauty of Microsoft Project built into it. This is all delivered through a browser. What we can also start to do is, if we want to visualize this, we have something that allows us, and this is a snippet that we offer to clients, allows us to sync with Planner, that Kanban-based tool, and also put it in a Planner bucket. So let's say I wanted to take these tasks and I want to have them updated by team members, but I want them to update them in Planner. I don't want them to go to a timesheet to do that, or maybe it's a business activity. I just want a business person to get notified and update the status of that. What I can do is I can assign that resource, in this case Tom Henry. I can say yes, sync with Planner, put it in a certain Planner bucket. So when Tom goes in, you can see for the Fall 2020 public website update, if I go in as Tom again, Fall 2020 public website update, we have a one-to-one match between these activities and the ones in the project schedule. We have review content and update content, work with publishing to the team, review content, update content, publishing for the team. And what I can do is, as I go through these, if I mark them complete, mark this one completed, and review content here, I'm going to mark this one completed. Once I do that, then they're coming over here into the completed bucket. And as a project manager, I have a button here that says Get Updates from Planner. So if I'm trying to actually go pure Kanban with this, and I want to get updates from my team members on their status, all I have to do is say Get Planner Updates, and then it'll sit in the queue. It will look for those changes. It will actually bring those over. And when I refresh this in a couple of minutes, you'll see these tasks that were assigned to Tom will show up as 100% completed now. And that's, with Kanban, it's really about started, in progress, completed. If I'm looking to do detailed task planning, I did 8 hours, I have 20 more to go, then Kanban isn't a good fit for that, but we can mix and match our methodologies here if we want to. And just to show you kind of what a more complex project would look like, if we get into maybe our full website design, this may be a project that goes, 3 to 6 months. In this case, this project is actually going in Project Online from beginning of October through March. We've got a kickoff, an informal investigation. We have multiple resources associated with multiple tasks, which is kind of an indicator that Project Online may be a good fit. But we can also integrate in that integration with Planner. We can say, you know what, on some of these tasks, I want to get updates from Planner. And I want them to be in Planner buckets, but other ones I want them to stay in my PPM system, and I want them to be statused in a consistent way with hours or percent complete. And this really allows you to mix and match traditional project management with Kanban if and where you want to do those updates. So this project, if I were to hop back, again, just go into Planner here. See, if I go to Planner, and I go to Tom's Planner, you'll see the full website design project shows up here. And then I've got the activities, investigation and design the program. Those are the two activities I have coming from a detailed project schedule. So Tom can now work fully in Planner, whether it's a light project, can go over to Project for Web to update it, or get tasks from Project Online here, using Planner as a little bit of a hub around all of this. And we'll just hop back here. We'll just refresh our page. And in a second, you'll see that those tasks that we had gotten back from Tom now show up as 100% complete because he had statused those, as well as the tasks down here, prepare for publishing. He had statused those in Planner as completed. Now they're showing up in Project Completed. This helps the project manager get notified, but it also lets the team member work in a comfortable visual Kanban methodology that they're using over in Planner. So you can start to see we can use different tools in the Microsoft Suite and actually have them work together in a very good, easy, visual way to build out our projects and assign work and get those updates in an easy way that the team can collaborate on. Now, one of the other nice things about this is for a project manager who's working in Microsoft Project, traditionally they would work in more of a Gantt chart style, a more traditional waterfall methodology, but on that full website redesign project here, which we're in, we have the ability to actually visualize this. We go to the tab that says Sprints, and Microsoft added visualization in the project client. So now, putting on the hat of a project manager, as I'm building out my work plan, I can actually go and say I've got different activities here that are in progress, other ones that I just finished. This one over here is going from next up to in progress. I can use a Kanban methodology, and behind each of these tasks, all the details of a project activity in project, the resources, the notes, any custom fields of information, is it billable, CapEx, and OpEx. So Microsoft has built into the Project Professional desktop client through Office 365 the ability to actually get these updates and have the project manager plan visually or in a linear way, or use a combination of both of those views. So by using Microsoft Project to build out those projects, the PM can speak the same language as the team members who are using a Kanban approach or methodology. And moving forward to show you what this would look like, now we want to talk about integrating this in with Teams. Teams has become a very popular tool for bringing information together. Well, what you can do in Teams is you could set up a project in Teams, or a team, for each of these projects. In this case, we have the Fall 2020 Public Website Update. You see it's created a team for this. You see we have different files in our project document library that are all stored in this case, Project Online and SharePoint Online. So our team can very quickly come in and see any of the content that's being developed, can look at some of the content coming from the vendor, they can look at the final design materials, they can upload documents and edit documents. Behind this is SharePoint Online, working with Project Online, but all the content is together and it's all aggregated through Teams. You'll see we have a series of tabs here. To look at the project schedule and share this with team members, you can actually share that. And again, this is the same information we have over in Project Online through the web. We can now view through Teams. Quick and easy way to expose it. Tracking risks. If I wanted to actually capture and collaborate on risks, we can capture those all right here. And the nice thing about this is we're not only capturing it in the tool, we can edit, we can create new risks here, we can update the content. It's fully interactive. We also have the ability to actually capture details and look at the planner plan. So we're bringing the planner activities here, so we can use a pure Kanban when we get together as a team and say, hey, this planning phase, let's move that into execution, and let's take this one here, publishing team, that's in closeout now. So with the team together, we can get the input of the team and actually move things to different stages of completion right here in our Kanban that's built into Teams. And finally, just to show you one of the nice benefits of Teams is the ability to collaborate. So let's say you're in a status meeting, you're sharing the schedule, you wanted to collect some notes and feedback. Up here we have the Conversation tab. We click on that, we can actually see a visual conversation of all the notes and the communication from team members as you're reviewing a certain work item. This is really nice. Looks like we're on target. See everybody in our stand-up on Thursday. Really great. So everything's good with the schedule. When I hop into risk, though, it looks like this risk, access to Jim and marketing, might be a problem. The note from one of our resources is we really have to make sure he's available next Friday or else the project may slip. So we not only have the data on the project, but we have the communication and conversation. This is really the beauty of Teams. It's going to help pull all this together into common teams and channels. You can share it and collaborate it and stay informed. And that's whether you're using Project Online or Project for the Web or Planner. This is really going to pull it all together. So again, depending on your methodology, where you are as an organization, the types of projects, it'd be maybe one or a combination of those tools, all pulled together using Teams. And finally, a lot of folks are like, well, that's great, but I really want to do some reporting. How do I get reports out? So in the Kanban world, we want to look at throughput. We want to analyze resource work and teamwork and see who's working on what, and do I have challenges with that throughput. So what we've done here, we've gone into Power BI, we've tapped into the data that's in Project Online in this case, and we have created a Kanban report. And what this report is showing us in three different axes is three things. Number one, it's showing us the time that's logged by each assignee, so I can see how much time is being spent by each resource across all my projects. So I can see that I have, product engineering time is taking up about a quarter of my total work. But if I wanted to drill into it and look at specific resources, maybe Robert and Paul, I can very specifically see the amount of hours that's associated with their work by hovering over it, and they're 3% of the portfolio and 6% of the portfolio. So I'm tying a lot of my work into two people. I may want to know that. And I can also see their cycle time. How many hours each resource is going through throughout each project and through all of the work that I have them assigned to today. And we can do cycle time analysis, which is critical for Kanban, to start to look at, do I have people that are over or underutilized, start to go up and down, and as we go up and down this, we can see which resources have the most cycle time versus the ones that have the least. You can see as I go through this, it has the name of the resource and the total hours of cycle time that are applied to them across their work. Finally, down in the bottom axis, we can see here we can actually drill into different roles, look at just our vendor work and the cycle time and the throughput. And these are samples of Power BI reports that could be built out and just deployed in your environment to do more Kanban-based analysis. Behind that, you have your visual status reports for your projects, which make it very easy to go in and do project reporting. And then you can also do your portfolio summaries. So you can say for all of our marketing projects, show me the ones that are just red and yellow, and then just those projects will show up and we can do our business analysis on the performance of the projects in the portfolio. So with some really straightforward Power BI reporting, we can do our cycle time analysis, project statusing, and portfolio reporting. So hopefully that gives you some ideas as to what's possible with the different tools. Just to kind of summarize from a lesson learned perspective, what's the right tool for the job? Because you saw a whole bunch of tools just then. You want to think about using Planner if you're just getting started. If you're trying to establish an approach and a buy-in to using a Kanban methodology and to doing some basic project level tracking, Planner is a great tool. But at a certain point, you'll probably hit a ceiling. And that's where you want to start looking at either Project for the Web. And Project for the Web is great if you use it for any lightly structured, shorter to mid-range projects, often business-driven projects, with a business project manager that doesn't do project management as their day job, and they don't want to learn a whole new tool. It allows for better visual management, easy tracking, and reporting. The second option is more Project Online. Project Online is more relevant if you have more structured projects and a portfolio with resources to manage, analysis to do, status reporting. We can integrate Project Online, as we showed you, with Planner. If you're looking to take status of tasks and push those down via Kanban methodology, have team members update progress and push it back. Doesn't matter the methodology you have there, Kanban, Agile, whatever that is, you can use Project Online and Planner together. And then what we can do is we can use Teams as the wrapper. Think of Teams as kind of the way to aggregate data from your project management system or systems in Microsoft, the Microsoft Office 365 suite, to enable better communication, better collaboration, no matter which tools you're using. You could do it for Planner and have a channel that has just a Planner plan in it. You could do it for Project for the Web, where you have a a team that has a project for the web schedule in there, a roadmap, it has status reports there, or you can do full Project Online, which is really nice. One of the nice things about Project Online, it also comes with the capability to do roadmaps. So if I were to just hop back very quickly, show you roadmaps. So let's say I've got these projects and they're in Project Online or Project for the Web. And I may want to look at them together in a visual roadmap. What you can do is you can actually go build a roadmap. So in this case, I've built a roadmap for our marketing efforts, all the projects we have going on right now. That roadmap is representing each project we have on the left, our 2021 full planning effort, the fall content updates, and then the November updates. And you'll see there are tasks here from Project for the Web and Project Online all in one place, as well as top-level milestones. Visuals like this, visual roadmaps, this is a part of Project now, called the roadmap functionality, is a great way to share status across all of our work with our senior management, and then be able to drill in and say, well, what's with investigation? When does it start? When does it finish? Who owns it? Show me some details on that project, who's responsible for it, and it allows you to kind of troubleshoot and look for any bottlenecks that may be out there, as well as any key dates or milestones like go live. And And this is really the roadmap functionality that's working that aggregates data from those multiple applications. So when we start thinking about kind of that overall architecture, Office 365 is the core platform. Microsoft Teams at the top level is the way we're going to aggregate data across that platform from Project Online, which is going to have our information on our projects, our resources, our work, from Project for the Web, which again, projects, resources, work. SharePoint Online below that, where you're going to have all your documentation, issues, and risks. Any of the collaboration is happening in SharePoint Online with Project Online. Planner is going to be available there as well for your kind of informal task management and Kanban and visualization with the team, integrated with Project, and finally rolling all that information up using Power BI for those dashboards and reports to do cycle time analysis and project statusing and portfolio management like we showed you today. So again, this is really the platform. It's all in Office 365. It's all available to you. One of the unique things that Progility brings to the table is that Teams connector. And that Teams connector has a couple of different features and functions. The first is it's going to automatically create a team when a project is created in Project Online. It's going to create the different tabs for files, for risks, for issues, for your schedule, and for Planner. And whenever you assign somebody to your project in Project Online, it's also going to assign them to the team. So it's going to automate a lot of that setup and make sure you have good standardization and consistency around that, and also allow you to insert your Power BI dashboards into this. The second thing that Teams connector is going to do, it's going to enable Kanban synchronization. So when you build a project schedule out as a project manager, you're going to be assigning tasks and determining, do those tasks go into Planner for my team members? If so, it's going to go over and create a Planner plan, create those activities, assign those people to those activities, and put them in the proper Planner plan bucket, and it allows for two-way synchronization between the systems. So if you're looking for ways to better leverage Teams to surface this data and integrate Project Online and Planner, we have some really great software components that can be plugged in to make this happen today. This is one of the things that's not out of the box. This is something that we've got some code that one of our partners has developed, which we leverage to actually support this. So we went through a lot of stuff right there. We wanted to actually open the floor and see if anyone has any questions at this point. And Sarah, I think we'll open the Q&A manager here.
All right, everyone, the chat box is open, so if you can type your questions. If you have any. All right, from Mina, if we do not use Planner, can we still use Kanban in Project Online?
That is a great question. So you can definitely, in the project desktop client, as your project manager is building out that project schedule, you can actually take a Kanban view of that and do the started and progress done and create different buckets. So it can be used in Project Online without Planner. It's just initially it's limited just to the project manager. You would need Planner to enable it for the team members essentially.
Okay, and then from Robert, he would like to know if there's a cost behind using the Kanban.
So Planner doesn't have a cost. As long as you have an enterprise license of Office 365, you get that. It would just be a matter of that connector that we talked about that Progility offers, and we can definitely follow up with you on what the cost to purchase and implement that is, and then the proper setup of your projects to follow a methodology that aligns with Kanban in the system.
All right, and from Rahul, is Project for the Web part of the Microsoft Project Suite?
Great question. It actually is. So Project for the Web launched in October of last year. It is its own product called Project for the Web. It is delivered through Office 365. It uses a license called Project Plan 1. So Project Plan 1 gives you access to just Project for the Web, that web-based pure scheduling component, and then you can layer Power BI on top of it and leverage roadmaps as well. But it is a separate product that's a part of Office 365 now called Project for the Web, separate from Project Online.
All right, from Mina, we are currently using ADOs for intake requests and prioritization. How do we use this in Kanban?
I mean, a good question. We need to know what ADOs is. Not sure exactly what that is. Azure DevOps. Thank you very much. How do we use this in Kanban? So Azure DevOps, if you're using that to prioritize your work with your developers, to manage your work order, your your features and tasks and iterations and sprints, it uses a Kanban methodology actually behind it to drag and drop into different buckets. So there's Kanban at a core built into it, but it's really designed for developer collaboration. I don't know if you could share a little more about what the actual use case would be. Beyond that, we could give you some guidance there.
Business and IT new work from Mina.
Got it. So, Azure DevOps is designed to be a developer operations suite in terms of business folks putting requests in there. I don't know if they'd be work requests or project requests. Typically, we see kind of the business requests going to Project Online, and then they're prioritized there, and then they become work. They go into Azure DevOps. If you're using Azure DevOps as a queue for work, I think we might have to think through that and maybe come back to you with some ideas. Not exactly sure. I think we'd need to kind of dig into that use case a little more, Mina. Sorry about that.
All right, we have a few folks typing. From Ilana, is it used in the creation of plan creation? Just a moment. Okay, can we create Kanban board in OneNote?
That's a good question. I wouldn't really know. Most Kanban boards are generally created using Planner or Project for the web. They're in one of those three tools because those are the tools really designed to do kind of organization of work and tasks. You could take those and copy and paste them into OneNote if you want to do that. But I don't know that there's a native way to do Kanbaning in OneNote. That's an interesting question.
Okay, from Ilana, can you use Kanban for app creation and agile methodology?
Well, yeah, I think again we need to get a little more information on that. I think when you look at an agile methodology, it is naturally very visual, and there's different stages: started, in progress, done, and you're moving things around a board and inserting things into different sprints for different work that's being performed. So it loosely follows Kanban from a methodology perspective. It just kind of takes it to a more complex level. So again, we might want to follow up after this and talk a little more about that. So.
All right, and from Rahul, do these tools interact or integrate with SharePoint in any way?
Good question. They can definitely be viewed in a SharePoint user interface. You want to think about SharePoint as kind of the front end for that. Planner is kind of its own application. Project for the web is its own application, and Project is its own application. So you could definitely take components of that and push them through SharePoint, but they're not native to SharePoint. They're actually specific applications that Microsoft has built. So.
And from Robert, will updates by team members using Planner without Project Online licenses be reflected in Project Online?
That is a good question, Robert. So anybody who is assigned an activity in Project Online that needs to update that, even if they're just using Planner to do it, would need a Project Online license, a Project Online Essentials license, because they are a resource that's actually updating activities in Planner, but it's flowing into Project Online. So you would still need, those users technically would need a license to Project Online as well.
I think we've got another question coming in here, Rob.
Great.
From Sanjoy, how do you quantify project progress?
That's a good question. So in Kanban, the concept is it's simple. It's started, in progress, complete. In a project management context, we're looking at things like hours performed, percent complete, work remaining. We have different methodologies for doing that. So the first thing you want to do is determine what is your agreed upon methodology, and is it standard across every project? And how does that fit with a Kanban methodology? Within that connector we showed you, that connector can actually be configured. so that you have multiple stages. You could have started, partially done, almost done, and completed, and it could be 25, 50, 75, 100% to match the percent complete standards you would have in your project management side. But really aligning your project management methodology with how you're tracking things in Kanban is really important. Otherwise, you'll suddenly have someone come in and say it's 100% done, and you don't know if they did 8 or 40 hours of work. So that alignment and the work behind it is really, really important. But how you quantify project progress, that definitely has an impact. So hopefully that answers your question.
We have another question from Rahul. Is today's session eligible for PMI PDU?
Yep, Raul. You can definitely self-register any of the webinars we have and any of the courses we do deliver. There's no formal PMI number to give you, but you can go self-register it for the time we've spent today on this topic. So absolutely. Sure. Okay. Well, Sarah?
Yeah, I think that's it for questions today, Rob.
Okay. Well, let me turn the IM window off here, and we'll get back to the presentation.
Oh, we have one more typer actually.
Okay, another typer. Okay.
Yep. Okay, that's it.
Okay. So back to you, Sarah.
All right. Well, thank you, Rob, and thanks everyone for joining our webinar today. If we can assist you with anything, please reach out to Sarah Howard, me at sarahhoward@progility.com. So thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.